You know, reading a breed description for a dog is it's honestly a lot like swiping through a dating app profile.
Oh, it really is. It all sounds so perfect in theory.
Right, you see all these adjectives like loyal and intelligent and active, and you immediately picture this highly cinematic montage.
Like running on the beach or something.
Exactly. You effortlessly jogging through a sun-dappled park with this majestic creature just trotting in perfect rhythm right by your side. Like you are the ultimate team.
Yeah, but then you actually move in together.
Yes, and suddenly those abstract adjectives become very tangible, high-stakes realities in your living room at, like, 6 o'clock in the morning on a freezing rainy Tuesday.
When neither of you wants to be awake, yeah.
I mean, when you are staring down 80 pounds of muscle and teeth that is just vibrating with unspent energy, the word active takes on a whole new meaning.
It absolutely does.
So, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are offering you a shortcut to understanding the actual mechanics of living with one of the most iconic, recognizable, and frankly, misunderstood dog breeds in the world, the German Shepherd.
You know, it is remarkably easy to fall in love with the aesthetic and the mythology of a German Shepherd.
Oh, totally.
I mean, they are undeniably magnificent animals. But the gap between the mythology of this breed and the gritty daily reality of cohabitating with it is vast.
Which is why we're digging into this today.
Exactly. We are looking at comprehensive material today from the Dog Health Academy, and the entire focus here is practical application.
Real world stuff.
Right. We are looking past the textbook traits to examine the texture of daily life, the schedules, the biology of their coats, the psychological demands, and what actually happens to your home dynamics the moment you bring a high-performance working dog over the threshold.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I know people see these dogs on the street or in movies and they think, oh, I want one.
Without fully grasping the massive lifestyle shift that inherently comes with that decision.
Exactly. It requires a complete recalibration of how you spend your time.
Well, at its core, the data we are reviewing points to one fundamental concept, and that is lifestyle alignment.
Lifestyle alignment.
Yes. This deep dive is an analytical look at whether your daily reality, so your work schedule, your environment, and your personal habits, actually has the bandwidth to meet this animal's mandatory biological and psychological needs.
So I have to ask you directly, the listener tuning in right now, are you prepping to get a German Shepherd or just insanely curious about what it takes to live with an animal engineered for high-level work?
I mean, either way, you're going to want to hear this.
For sure. Let's start by dismantling the biggest myth right out of the gate, the real estate myth.
Oh, this is a big one.
Right. There is this pervasive societal idea that to own a large working breed like a German Shepherd, you absolutely must have a massive rural property.
Like you need a 10-acre farm.
Yes, endless fields, maybe a flock of sheep in the back. But the data completely shatters that assumption.
It really forces us to reframe what a dog actually values versus what humans assume a dog values.
Okay, so what do they value?
Well, if we break down the daily biological requirements of a German Shepherd, they need a highly specific combination of inputs.
Which are?
They require intense physical exercise, rigorous mental engagement, unwavering routines, and genuine complex social interaction with their human pack.
And square footage isn't on that list.
Square footage simply does not appear on that biological checklist. A German Shepherd is a pack animal bred for partnership.
Right.
So if you put them on a 10-acre farm and just open the back door to let them wander, they're not going to self-exercise or, invent a job for themselves.
They won't just run laps.
No, they're going to sit on the porch, stare at the door, and wait for you to come out and give them a task.
Wow. Which means all that land is functionally useless if the human isn't actively participating. And that leads to a really counterintuitive conclusion from the Dog Health Academy material, which is that a German Shepherd can actually thrive in an apartment.
They really can.
I have to admit, seeing an 80-pound working dog in a third-floor city apartment sounds bordering on irresponsible at first glance.
I completely understand why people think that. But it only sounds irresponsible if we conflate physical space with psychological engagement.
Okay, make that make sense.
So look at the mechanics of canine behavior. If an owner living in an urban apartment is absolutely dedicated to providing the necessary outlets, meaning they are physically taking the dog out for structured training, exposure, and exercise multiple times a day.
Right, like constantly engaging them.
Yes. If they do that, that dog will be deeply content. In that scenario, the apartment is simply a den.
Just a place to sleep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The living room is a place to rest, decompress, and sleep. It is not the designated zone for burning energy.
Wait, so keeping a German Shepherd in an apartment is essentially like having a high-performance sports car parked in a tiny, cramped garage.
I love that comparison.
Like, it's completely fine that the garage is small, just as long as you take the car out to the track every single day to push the engine and burn off that energy.
Yes, and what's fascinating here is that taking the car to the track isn't just about putting the pedal to the floor, it's about how you steer.
How you steer? What do you mean?
Well, in an urban environment, a walk isn't just physical. It's a massive cognitive load for the dog.
Because there's so much going on.
Exactly. They are navigating leash tension, resisting the impulse to chase pigeons, processing thousands of complex urban scents, and focusing on the owner amidst city noise.
Oh, that makes sense. It's a lot of brain power.
That structured impulse control burns significantly more mental energy than just mindlessly running in an empty rural field.
So a big yard isn't the cheat code people think it is?
A suburban yard is incredibly convenient for a human who wants an easy bathroom break at midnight, sure. But to the dog, the yard is just a larger, slightly greener living room.
Wow.
It is not a substitute for active engagement.
The sports car doesn't drive itself just because it's parked in a bigger driveway.
No, it doesn't.
You still have to get behind the wheel. So if the outside environment, whether it's a farm, a yard, or city streets, is really just about the human's commitment to engagement, that drastically shifts how we need to look at the inside of the home.
It really does.
Because if the living room is supposed to be the den, how do you engineer the architecture of your household to support an animal whose brain is basically always firing?
You have to deliberately adapt the interior environment to promote off switches.
Off switches. I like that.
A German Shepherd's brain is bred to scan for work. If you don't give them a way to safely decompress, they will just stay on high alert indefinitely.
Like they're always on the clock.
Exactly. So the practical adaptations require setting up designated undisturbed rest spaces, like a specific crate or a quiet corner bed where the dog knows they are entirely off duty.
And no one bothers them there.
Right.
Yeah.
You also need to integrate accessible puzzle feeders and enrichment tools.
Because normal bowls are too easy.
Yes. When you feed a working dog out of a complex puzzle rather than a standard metal bowl, you are forcing them to use their olfactory bulb and their problem-solving skills to acquire calories.
And that tires them out.
Sniffing and problem-solving are neurologically exhausting for a dog. It satisfies their genetic drive to work for their resources.
I love the concept that you basically have to turn your living room into an escape room just to tire out your dog's brain.
It's essentially what you're doing, yeah.
But we also have to talk about the concept of security. Because the material makes it clear that secure, robust fencing and physical boundaries are mandatory.
Absolutely.
And this is tied directly to the breed's intense protective instincts, which frankly confuses me a bit when we talk about household dynamics.
How so?
Well, the material states that with proper socialization, German Shepherds are a watchful, incredibly gentle presence around children.
They are.
But if this animal is hardwired to be a massive guard dog, how does an 80-pound apex predator mesh with a chaotic family home?
A fair question.
Doesn't that protective instinct make having toddlers and their loud friends running around a massive liability?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it explains exactly the mechanism behind why early socialization and rigid household hierarchy are entirely non-negotiable.
Okay, walk me through that.
We have to look at the genetics of protection. To a German Shepherd, protection is essentially resource guarding and flock management.
And the family is the flock.
Right. They view the family as their flock. Now, picture a bustling household, kids screaming, running, neighbors walking in, sudden loud noises.
Total chaos.
To a dog with no framework, that is pure chaos. If the dog doesn't know its place in the household hierarchy, it assumes it has to be the manager of that chaos.
Oh, man.
So its protective instinct warps into severe anxiety, micromanaging, and stressful guarding.
The dog is essentially stressing itself out, trying to act as the bouncer and the CEO of the house at the same time.
Precisely. But when the human adults establish impenetrable boundaries early on, rules for where the dog is allowed, how it eats, and critically, rules for how the children are allowed to interact with the animal, you remove the management burden from the dog's shoulders.
You give them structure.
You build an encyclopedia of normal for them.
Yeah.
Once the dog understands the human adults are fully in charge of managing the chaos, the dog steps down from CEO.
They can just relax.
Yes. The protective instinct stops being an active, anxious defense and settles into a calm, passive security camera.
I see.
They become watchful and gentle because they feel safe in their subordinate role.
So it's not about trying to train the guard dog out of them. It's about giving that instinct a safe, structured framework to exist within.
Exactly. You can't train the genetics out. You can only channel them.
And that same framework applies to multi-pet households, right? Like, if introduced properly, they can totally thrive with other dogs or cats, provided they know the human is managing the flock.
Yes, the human has to be the one in charge.
Okay, so setting up the physical home and the psychological boundaries is step one. But maintaining that peace requires conquering a much more relentless enemy, and that is the daily schedule.
Oh, the schedule. The daily schedule is where the theoretical love for the breed really clashes with reality.
Because it takes so much time.
A first-time owner can absolutely raise a stable German Shepherd, but it requires a brutally honest, almost painful audit of their available time.
We are talking about the 9-to-5 reality.
Yes. You can't not leave a high-drive working breed in a house alone for 9 hours without any engagement and expect a well-adjusted animal when you return.
Because the biological clock of a working dog doesn't care about your commute.
It really doesn't.
What actually happens to a dog like this during a 9-hour gap of total isolation?
Well, their cortisol levels spike.
Cortisol, so straight hormones.
Right. Boredom in a working breed isn't just a mild inconvenience. It is acute psychological distress.
That sounds intense.
It is. They have immense energy reserves and no outlet. This leads directly to obsessive, destructive behaviors.
See, here's where it gets really interesting to me. The data emphasizes that these frustrating behaviors, the destroyed furniture, the digging, the endless pacing, are almost never a flaw in the dog's character.
No, they are.
They are a direct result of unmet physical or mental needs. So basically, we shouldn't view a chewed-up couch as a bad dog.
Right.
We need to view it as a check engine light on a dashboard telling us we failed to put enough mental stimulation in the tank that morning.
The check engine light is a perfect mechanism for understanding this. Chewing up a sofa isn't spite.
It's not them being mad at you.
Not at all. The act of tearing and chewing physically releases endorphins in a dog's brain.
Oh, wow.
It is a self-soothing behavior for an animal suffering from severe stress and understimulation.
So they're just trying to cope.
The destruction is a symptom of a systemic human failure, not a canine one.
Ouch! But fair.
To keep that check engine light off, you have to engineer a schedule that mitigates the isolation.
What does that look like in practice?
That means a demanding morning routine. Structured physical and mental exercise before you even leave for work.
Early mornings.
Very early. It also means hiring midday dog walkers or utilizing daycare to break up the isolation.
Right.
It means leaving complex enrichment toys hidden around the house. And crucially, it means being ready to engage with the dog the minute you get home.
No collapsing on the couch after work.
None. A dog craves predictability. When a German Shepherd knows exactly when it will work, when it will eat, and when it will rest, the anxiety evaporates.
It really forces you to take total accountability. You simply can't blame the animal for acting out if you haven't engineered a life that sets them up for success.
Exactly.
Okay, so if we manage to master the psychology, the environment, and the rigorous daily schedule, we still have to confront the tangible physical biology of the dog.
Yes.
And that starts with the fur.
The double coat.
I mean, anyone bringing this breed into their home must understand that the grooming is a genuine, nonstop commitment.
It's practically a part-time job.
You are brushing this animal several times a week, at minimum, just to maintain a baseline of cleanliness in your home.
And it's not just normal shedding.
No, the material discusses this biological phenomenon called blowing coat.
Yes.
Which sounds incredibly dramatic. What is actually happening biologically when a dog blows its coat?
Well, it is dramatic. A double coat isn't just a thick layer of hair. It is a highly specialized two-part system.
Okay.
You have the soft, dense, downy undercoat that acts as thermal insulation, and then the coarse outer guard coat that repels water and dirt.
Makes sense.
Twice a year, typically in the spring and fall, the dog's endocrine system reacts to photoperiodism.
Which is the changing length of daylight.
Exactly. The body realizes the seasons are shifting, and it rapidly releases the entire undercoat to prepare a new one.
The entire undercoat?
Yes. The sheer volume of downy fur that releases in a matter of weeks is staggering.
I can't even imagine.
It requires intense daily de-shedding just to prevent the dog from matting and, honestly, your house from disappearing under a layer of fur.
I am fully picturing tumbleweeds of gray and tam fur just rolling across the kitchen floor.
That is an accurate picture.
But that two-part coat system is heavily tied to how they handle the weather.
Yeah.
The undercoat is brilliant insulation for cold weather.
Yes, it keeps them very warm.
Which makes me want to play devil's advocate for a second.
Look for it.
If this double coat is basically a built-in heavy-duty winter parka, how do owners in places like Texas or Florida realistically manage this?
It's tough.
Aren't we just torturing the dog in the heat? Or do we just trap them inside with the air conditioning all summer, which completely destroys the rigorous exercise schedule we just talked about building?
It is a profound challenge, and it circles right back to lifestyle adaptation.
You're right.
You cannot just trap them inside because, as we established, the check engine light will come on, and they will systematically dismantle your house.
Right, the boredom.
But the double coat actually provides a small level of heat protection. The guard hairs prevent sunburn and can trap a layer of cooler air against the skin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but they are still highly susceptible to overheating. So managing this requires a radical shift in your personal schedule.
So what do you have to do?
In a hot climate, you are setting your alarm for 5:00 a.m. to get the rigorous exercise done before the sun is fully up.
Brutal.
And you are waiting until 9:00 p.m. to do your training walks. You are carefully planning routes that guarantee access to shade and water and actively monitoring the pavement temperature to protect their paw pads.
So you are basically molding your entire summer lifestyle around their biological limitations?
You have to.
It really is a total recalibration of your day. And that physical reality extends far beyond just walking around the neighborhood. Managing an 80-pound animal impacts travel and boarding, too.
Heavily.
Because of their size, you can't just casually toss them in the passenger seat of a sedan.
No, definitely not.
Car travel requires secure restraints or large crash-tested crates, and you have to map out specific exercise breaks on long road trips.
Furthermore, boarding a German Shepherd presents unique psychological challenges due to the specific way they bond.
Because they're so attached to their flock.
Exactly. Because they view you as their flock and possess such intense loyalty, commercial boarding facilities can be traumatic.
Really?
Yeah. A loud kennel with dozens of strange dogs and a rotating staff of strangers can trigger massive anxiety in a breed hardwired for order and protection.
They lose their structure.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
Some simply require an in-home pet sitter to maintain their sense of security in their own territory.
What about the ones that do go to boarders?
Well, others can adapt to commercial boarding, but almost exclusively if they were exposed to that specific environment early and positively during their critical socialization windows.
So you really have to understand the specific psychological makeup of your individual dog.
You really do.
You know, the material also brings up a tool called Vital Pet. And to remain completely impartial, and just report on the source here, this is an app noted for helping owners organize daily care, track vet appointments, and store medical records.
Right, and they explicitly clarify that an app does not replace a licensed veterinarian, of course.
Of course not, but it highlights the level of administration required. When you are managing grooming schedules, vaccination records, feeding times, and dog walkers for a high-performance breed, you are basically running a small business.
It requires immense executive function.
Yeah.
Whether you use a dedicated app, a complex spreadsheet, or, a color-coded physical calendar on your fridge, the underlying reality is the same. Owning a German Shepherd demands intense organization.
You can't just wing it.
No. You are managing the daily logistics, diet, healthcare regimen, and continuous training protocol for a very complex biological machine.
So what does this all mean when we zoom out and look at all these individual pieces? The uncompromising time commitment, the fact that mental engagement matters more than square footage, the architecture of pack hierarchy and boundaries.
The rigid daily routines.
Right, to prevent those cortisol spikes, and then the biology of blowing a double coat, the climate management.
It's a lot.
It paints a wildly different picture than that idyllic dating app profile we started with. The takeaway from the Dog Health Academy material is undeniable. Living with a German Shepherd is an active, demanding, years-long commitment.
It is decidedly not for the passive observer.
But if you're willing to lean into that structure and build the framework, the reward is an incredibly loyal, fiercely intelligent companion that becomes a foundational pillar of your family rhythm.
It is a remarkable ancient partnership between human and animal. But looking at the sheer volume of adaptation required, this raises an important question for you, the listener, to consider.
What's that?
Well, we've spent this entire time outlining how a German Shepherd requires you to implement rigid, healthy routines. They mandate that you wake up early for daily physical exercise.
Yeah, that 5 a.m. alarm.
Exactly. They require you to stay mentally engaged, to communicate with clear boundaries, to regulate your own emotions, to prevent chaos, and to maintain an organized, proactive environment.
They ask a lot of us.
They do. And we spend all this time and energy thinking that we are training the dog. But by forcing us to abandon our passive lifestyles, forcing us to become highly structured, and demanding that we spend more time outside actively moving our bodies.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
Is it possible that the German Shepherd is actually training us to be better versions of ourselves?
Man, I think we'll leave it right there. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep learning, stay curious, and we will catch you next time.